Yo, what's good YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have the NFL playoffs set based off last weekend's games. Week 17's over, and now the postseason for the NFL 2020 season has begun. With our 14 teams, 7 from the AFC, 7 from the NFC, on our road to Tampa Bay, Florida for Super Bowl 55. Those 14 teams include the Kansas City Chiefs, Tennessee Titans, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, Buffalo Bills, Indianapolis Colts. As the AFC, and the NFC are the Green Bay Packers, the Washington Football Team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Rams, the New Orleans Saints, and the Chicago Bears. Those 14 teams were on the road to Tampa Bay, Florida, as I said, for Super Bowl 55. As I did last year, I did a Madden prediction, which I will do that probably about 2 days from now, so stick with the channel if you want to see a Madden simulation on this bracket. But I didn't do a prediction, so I'm going to redo my playoff prediction, and I'm going to see how well I do with the correct teams this time. With that being said, let's start with our first game, and that is the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC wild card. Now, I'm going to talk about the Titans real quick because the Titans have been focusing all their game on Derrick Henry. What they've been doing the last few weeks is just making sure he gets the ball. Of course, he has over 2,000 rushing yards. He was the rushing leader this year, and that just makes sense to give him the ball every game, non-stop. But one thing you got to take consideration when you give Derrick Henry the ball, that you're eliminating your pass game. And the Tennessee Titans have a pretty decent pass game. They just don't use much of because of Derrick Henry, and that's including Ryan Tannehill, who started off the season really good, and then you got Corey Davis and A.J. Brown as good receivers. But when you eliminate Derrick Henry and your pass game is just not as efficient as it always is, you're going to have a problem with passing the ball. And because I feel like the Ravens can stop Derrick Henry. The way the Ravens have been playing really good recently, I just don't understand. They've won about 4 or 5 games in a row. Lamar Jackson's kind of coming back from the dead right now, and I do feel like the Ravens are actually going to get a win versus the Tennessee Titans. The Ravens defense can stop Derrick Henry. We've seen it versus the Packers. When the Packers play the Titans, the Packers were able to stop Derrick Henry, so there was no answer for offense at all in Titans. And you can stop the Titans defense, or you can drive the Titans defense. There's no defense for the Titans are there. So the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, who's been better, he's going to score in the Titans, and I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be able to run through the Baltimore Ravens as well as he did with other teams. I want to do a score prediction for these games. I'm going to do 34-24 Baltimore Ravens. In our second AFC wildcard game, that is between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, the number 3 and the number 6 seed, and division rivals. This will be the third time these teams have met this year, of course, being the AFC North. Now, the Steelers, of course, their passing game is what got them this far. 12-4, winning 11 games in a row. They have lost 3 out of the last 4, which, it's kind of concerning. But when you play a team like your Cleveland Browns, which they have a really young core and the cornerbacks and safeties, but versus the Steelers with the pass game, that's mainly how they've done so good, is Ben Roethlisberger, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, downfield. The Steelers are a deep threat downfield on the passing game. Their run game is non-existent, so the Browns, there's nothing really they can stop in the run game. However, they can stop Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not saying the Browns are out of this, but I do feel like the Browns are going to struggle getting rid of the passing game. Of course, let's talk about Baker Mayfield for a second, because earlier this season I said Baker Mayfield has to do good for this team to win, and he definitely did his part alongside, Nick Chubb, Donovan Peoples-Jones, which, he came out of nowhere. Odell Beckham got hurt, Kareem Hunt. So the Browns have offensive firepower, including Austin Hooper, of course, but I just don't feel like they can stop the Steelers' offense on the passing game. They can stop the running game if it's needed, but there's going to be no running game for them. The Steelers are going to be on the ground, or not on the ground this game. They're going to be in the air the entire time, and they're going to be off the ground. So I feel like the Steelers are going to win here, and I'm going to say it's going to be 34-24. Is that the same score I just said? I'll do 34-27, just to be a little bit different. I'm not too sure, but I feel like the Steelers will edge out of this one. The Browns, I feel like the run game will get them far, but I just feel like they won't be able to stop the pass game of the Steelers' offense. In our final AFC wildcard game, the number 2 Buffalo Bills is the number 7 Indianapolis Colts. I don't really know what to say for the Colts. The Colts, they started off the season, they're pretty decent, even though they lost week 1. Their defense was really good to start the season, but I feel like it's just been regressing. Same thing with Phillip Rivers in the offense. I just feel like there's been no firepower ever since a few weeks ago. I just feel like they've been starting to lose, and they just haven't been the same team they've been earlier this season. But let's talk about the Buffalo Bills for a second, because this team is, in my opinion, the most complete team in the playoffs. And I do feel like this team should get a win versus the Indianapolis Colts, no problem here. And I'll give it, let's say 28-20. I do feel like the Colts will try to shut off the Bills in offense, but the Bills' offense is just too strong for what the Colts defense has. Phillip Rivers, I don't think he's a match for the Bills defense. I just feel like the Bills are the most complete team in this playoff, and I do feel like the Colts have been regressing a little bit early on since the season started. With that being said, we have the divisional matchup set in the AFC, but we're going to talk about the NFC wildcard. So let's start with our first game. The number 4 seeded division winners NFC East Washington Football Team versus the number 5 wildcard Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, real quick, I gotta give props to the icons on the Washington football team, including Ron Rivera and Alex Smith. One of them kicked cancer, and the other one learned how to kick again for the first time. So that's really good for both of them. But to be honest, do they deserve to be here? Not really. This team is 7-9. They didn't really deserve the playoff spot, but just because the NFC East, there has to be one winner. Well, they got kind of lucky, and they made it to the playoffs. However, I do like what this team is doing on the defense side of the ball. Chase Young is a really good pickup, and I do think they can build off of him in the future. Alex Smith, I feel like his time is coming short in Washington. I do feel like he's going to spend like 1 or 2 more years. Honestly, he should retire if you ask me. But enough about Washington football team. Let's talk about the better side of the ball, in my opinion, who I think is going to win this game, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. More like Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because Tom Brady has been playing some of the best football he's played in quite some time. Of course, he's had, just amazing numbers the last few weeks with 40 touchdowns on the passing yards, and then our passing game, and then about 4,300 passing yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns, 43 touchdowns, and he's 43 years old. So Tom Brady's been playing really good football recently. His offense as well, including Antonio Brown, who's getting in the mix now. Mike Evans got injured. I think he'll be back though. Chris Godwin, I think he's back. He's been injured this entire season. I mean, just think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their full offense, no injuries, and of course Ronald Jones. I'm pretty sure is his name. It's pretty good running back this year as well. So I don't feel like Washington can stop Tom Brady in the offense. So Buccaneers should get a win here. Our next game is another divisional rival. That's the number 3 Seattle Seahawks and the number 6 LA Rams. There's not much I want to say about the Rams other than, well, Jared Goff is most likely not going to play this game. If he does, he's not going to be 100%. So this Rams offense has just been slowly going on the decline. Their defense seems like they're probably going to be able to do the most versus Seattle Seahawks. But when you have Russell Wilson, who's used to scrambling out of the pocket, I mean, he plays Aaron Donald twice a year. He can get out of the pocket and throw it down the field. What do you have to defend that? Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, at the end of the season have been playing much better football than they have before right now. So I give them a really high tier of performance versus the LA Rams in this game. I did not say a score prediction for the Washington versus Tampa Bay, but I'll say it to be a low scoring game. I'll say 24-13 Washington versus Buccaneers. Buccaneers win. For this game, I'm going to say, I'll do another low scoring game. I'll do 21-16. Seattle Seahawks winning this game. I just feel like the Rams offense, there won't be anything there. The defense game probably here. Even though the Seattle Seahawks doesn't have the best defense, I do feel like they'll be able to compete, mainly because Jared Goff is just not going to be 100%, and the Rams offense just doesn't work without him. So I give Seattle Seahawks a win here. They've been playing better ball on offense than they have before, and the Seahawks, or the Rams, just don't really have an offense there to play. And our final AFC and NFC wildcard game, or just NFC I mean, and that is the Saints versus Bears in New Orleans. Chicago Bears, of course, who've just snuck into this playoffs at 8-8, the second worst team of record. Of course, Washington football team ended at 7-9. The Bears, they've been playing really good offensive football the last few weeks, but we've seen it versus the Packers. It's just not enough to compete with these high-power NFC teams. They've played really good football versus sucky teams, and they beat the Vikings by a lot. They beat the Jaguars by a lot, but what's really accomplished out of that is just really nothing, because when you face a good team, it just all goes downhill. Their defense seems like it just sacrificed to get a good offense. Mitchell Trubisky's been playing decent football, I give it to him, but more like David Montgomery, Allen Robinson, Cole Kmet, and these offensive people, they're just young offensive players, have been doing something this year for the Chicago Bears, and I do feel like that does say a lot. It just isn't enough to compete with the New Orleans Saints and their defense and their offense. Drew Brees, who's not 100%, he's definitely his best right now for the playoffs than he can be, and just in the big, he's been injured a little bit. Taysom Hill has been starting, and the New Orleans Saints are a pretty complete team. Even without Drew Brees, they play pretty good. So I'll give it to the Saints. This game, let's do 33-24. Saints win that one. And then we have our divisional game set. So that means with our seeding ways, we have the number 1 Chiefs play the number 5 Ravens, and then we have the number 2 Bills with the number 3 Steelers. On the NFC, we have the number 1 Packers play the number 5 Buccaneers, and then we have the number 3 Seahawks with the number 2 Saints. Okay, so starting with the AFC divisional round, we have the number 1 Chiefs versus the number 5 Baltimore Ravens in Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, so the Kansas City Chiefs, let me talk about them real quick. Last week, of course, they benched Patrick Mahomes to play the Chargers. It didn't matter. They had home field advantage, and they lost the game. But that game really never matters when you have home field advantage. However, the game before that, Patrick Mahomes didn't play his best game, and it was versus a team that's really not that good, the Atlanta Falcons. They barely escaped that one, to be honest. And it feels like the last few weeks, Patrick Mahomes just hasn't been playing the same football he normally has. He's played really good football this season, but I feel like the last few weeks, the Chiefs just haven't been the same. Here's one thing I noticed about the Chiefs, and they did this last year. Chiefs play good when they have the momentum. That's why the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I mean, Of course, they were down a lot of those games, but they came back because they won many games in a row, and they had the momentum going. For the Baltimore Ravens case, they have all the momentum going into the game. I know the Chiefs are number 1 seed, and I know they're on the road going to Kansas City, but the Baltimore Ravens have all momentum playing the Kansas City Chiefs. With that being said, my first upset in the bracket is going right here, and that's why I have the Baltimore Ravens beating the number 1 seed, tasted their own medicine just like last year. This time it's the Kansas City Chiefs losing number 1 seed, Baltimore Ravens getting past. Like I said, it's just a difference of how well these teams have been playing the last few weeks. The Chiefs, I feel like, maybe Patrick Mahomes could have started versus the Chiefs. I know you don't want to get him injured, but I feel like the way that they played versus the Falcons the week prior, I feel like they just weren't ready for a team like this. I feel like they're going to struggle, but they're going to be a really good team. It's going to be a battle to the end. But I just feel like they aren't ready for a team with momentum, and they don't have any momentum. They just have a number 1 seed, and they sit here alone. For this game, I'll say a score of 34-31, Baltimore Ravens win it by 3. Maybe a game-winning field goal by Justin Tucker would be cool. And our other AFC divisional game, that's between the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the rematch game, just like the other one. And, well, the Bills got it last time, and once again, the Bills have just been on fire recently, the most complete team. Once again, I'm talking about the Steelers passing game. That's the reason why they got past the Browns. That's what I said. The passing game is what the Steelers are built off. They can't run the ball. The Bills are built to stop the passing game. And when you stop the Steelers' passing game, what does the Steelers have to offer? The run game. The run game is weak. Bills can stop run game too. It's nothing impossible. But I'm pretty sure the Bills were made to stop teams such as the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's why I have the Bills winning here. Their offense is just too good. And once again, they can stop the Steelers' pass game. I feel like this will be a struggling game for Ben Roethlisberger. He'll still play good football. He'll probably throw a pick or two, maybe some fumbles. I feel like this game will have a lot of turnovers in it and just been, a back and forth game. And that's why I'm going to give it to the Bills. Let's go with a score of 27-23. 4-point game. I'm going to give the Bills the win. I feel like all these games will be close. They're all just competitive games. I like them. And let's head to our NFC. We have the AFC Championship set, but let's start with the NFC matchup with the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A rematch from earlier on this season. If you guys remember that game, the Green Bay Packers got killed. Aaron Rodgers got sacked many times. Aaron Rodgers threw a pick 6. Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks. There just was nothing going on for Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers offense. As long as defense, they were just getting scored on left and right with the run game. Tom Brady didn't do that much, or didn't do too much that game. Ronald Jones, had a bunch of yards and had a touchdown too. So that game was just a mess of the Green Bay Packers and just was an easy win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right off from the start. Let me tell you, that's going to be nothing like this game right here. The Green Bay Packers have now fixed their problems since then. Aaron Rodgers has been playing his best football he's played since 2011. The run game for the Packers has improved slightly. They can stop Ronald Jones Jr. now, and Aaron Rodgers, of course, he's a ball protector. I don't see him throwing 2 picks and a pick 6 again. That just happens once in a blue moon, and I just feel like the Green Bay Packers is going to be much more to offer than Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, I didn't say this, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 1-5 versus playoff teams. 1-5. So they're going to struggle, I feel like. Even though they're pretty good, I don't feel like that's going to mean anything. I just feel like it's going to be hard for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They go to Lambeau. Any team playing at Lambeau is tough. That's not used to the cold. Maybe Tom Brady's used to the cold. But, just playing at Lambeau enough is hard. And I feel like that's going to be the difference this game. It's just home field advantage. I just feel like the Packers are going to escape this one. I don't feel like they can stop Aaron Rodgers when he's on a streak. Aaron Rodgers just wasn't having it the first time they met. And the difference this game is how well the Packers offense will play compared to Tom Brady's offense. I do feel like this could be a shootout game. So because of that, I'll give the Packers 38-32. Yeah, that's a weird score, but we'll give the Packers 38-32. And our final divisional matchup is the Saints versus Seahawks in New Orleans. This is a really good matchup. Now, Drew Brees and the Saints, once again, it's a really complete team without Drew Brees. You don't even need Drew Brees. Alvin Kamara has been doing the most on the ground alongside your receivers. Michael Thomas has been heating up a little bit more. He's a little bit underrated this year. He hasn't had his name called a lot. Emmanuel Sanders is coming out of, just nowhere as well. So I feel like the Saints offense is building. Their defense, Cameron Jordan, of course, on the line. Marshawn Lattimore, cornerback. They're able to stop people such as Russell Wilson. They've done it before, and they can do it again, especially in New Orleans. Russell Wilson has been playing, once again, some of his best football. I've said this in the last matchup, and he can go downfield versus the Saints. But the problem is on the other side of the ball. How are the Seahawks defense going to stop the Saints offense? And that is my main question. They can just do check downs and slants to Alvin Kamara the entire game, and I feel like the Saints would get a win out of this. I don't feel like the Seahawks are built to stop people such as Alvin Kamara and the Saints offense, and I do feel like that's going to be the difference in this game. I just feel like it's going to be another high-scoring, close game as much of these playoff games, considering the teams that we have matching up, or the teams I have matching up. And I'll give this a score of 34-28. Saints come out of this one, another close one, and that means we have our championship game set. Okay, let's start with our AFC Championship game, a weird one. Bills versus Ravens in Buffalo. How about an AFC Championship game in Buffalo? Just doesn't sound right. Once again, I'm going to say this again. The Ravens, I've said it once again a lot, but I just got to mention this. The Ravens have been on a momentum streak. The Bills are the most complete team. I do feel like this can be a really good matchup. But the team I have coming out of this, I don't have much to say, is the Buffalo Bills. Maybe home field advantage could be a key, but Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, this offense just seems much more than what the Baltimore Ravens have to offer. If Lamar Jackson is caught off his streak, then they're not going to play as good. And I do feel like the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills can take Lamar Jackson off the streak he's on. I do feel like the Ravens will just not be able to do anything if they get stopped the Buffalo Bills defense, including, just the defense they have building. I've always liked the Buffalo Bills defense they've had this year. Sometimes it's played best, sometimes it's played worse, but I feel like it's going to be enough to stop Lamar Jackson at Buffalo, and Buffalo moves on to Super Bowl for the first time in about 25 years or so. And we have an NFC Championship game in Lambeau. Green Bay Packers, this is probably the worst place. They hate being in the NFC Championship because I feel like they never win it. But this time it's a little bit different because this time it's actually in Lambeau Field. That's if, of course, they make it to the NFC Championship. But it would be in Lambeau 100%. And at this, I have them playing the New Orleans Saints. They've already played this season. Once again, the Packers got a win, and it was a pretty, it was a win. I feel like the Saints just never had them to start. The Packers were rolling that entire game, and that's just been how the Packers have been playing recently. Once again, we saw the Packers defense struggle versus Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara did a lot versus that game versus the Packers early on. But I feel like the Packers have learned from then, such as the Buccaneers game, and I do feel like the Packers can limit Alvin Kamara's, just part in this game. I do feel like he's going to be a big factor though, but I do feel like he's going to do a lot less than we're used to, mainly because the Packers have played him once, and they're going to play him again, and they're going to stop him again. And that's why the Packers went on the Super Bowl. The Drew Brees, like I said, he just wasn't 100%, but he's been playing his best football, but sometimes, it just doesn't do enough. The Packers can stop Drew Brees. We've seen it once, we see it again, and I just don't feel like the Saints can stop Packers and Aaron Rodgers, long ball. It's just unstoppable stopping Aaron Rodgers down the field, such as Devontae Adams, who gets off the line quick. He can burn cornerbacks. Anyone he wants to, he can burn. How do you say his name? MVS, I'm just going to call him. He just goes down the field and runs straight. Even though he drops the ball a lot, he can just go down. And then Robert Tonyan, a tight end threat. And then, of course, you got Aaron Jones in the backfield. And then Jamal Williams. The Packers have an offensive trio building with their running back, quarterback, and wide receiver. And they have other options such as their tight end and wide receiver number 2. And, of course, their defense has been improving to stop the run and has been proven to stop the pass this game. And that's why I have the Packers moving to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2011. So here's my predicted Super Bowl. The Green Bay Packers, the number 1 seed of the NFC, and the Buffalo Bills, the number 2 seed out of the AFC. This is just a good game right here. I don't really know what to say. If there was full capacity fans in the stadium, this would be a fun one because these are two of the best fan bases in football and probably two of the most competitive teams right now in the league. And I don't really know what to say the difference of this game is because we've seen, good sides on both sides of the ball. And bad sides, of course. The Green Bay Packers have been playing good defense this year. So have the Bills. Green Bay Packers have been playing good offense this year. So are the Bills. They're both really complete teams, and they made it this far for a reason, in my prediction. But the difference this game is what I feel like it's going to come down to is the quarterback play. When you have teams so even together, the difference in the game is the quarterback play. We've seen this in many games before. And the quarterback play for this, as I'm going to talk about Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been playing really good. But Aaron Rodgers, does he match up to Aaron Rodgers is my question. Josh Allen has to be the better quarterback in this game in order to get a win. And I feel like that's going to be the difference. One has experience, the other one has never been in this spot before. And I do feel like that's going to be the difference in this game. A big game I have set. Packers, I have winning the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that because I'm a Packers fan, but I have faith in this team of how they've been playing recently and their ability to play versus these teams. Teams they've already beat before, teams they've already played. Packers had the experience in this playoffs. The only difference is that they got to play an AFC team, which they haven't played yet. So I have the Packers winning this mainly just because of experience. I didn't say my score predictions for the AFC and NFC Championship. For the AFC Championship, I'll say the Buffalo Bills win it a score of 24-20. And the Green Bay Packers versus Saints, I'll say the Packers win 35-28. For the Super Bowl, I feel like it's going to be another close one. And then I'm going to put in a score of 32-24. Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers will probably be the Super Bowl MVP. This is my complete bracket on the screen right now. I had some really weird scores in these predictions. I'm just creating the scores as I go. I don't really know what to say. So if these scores are somewhat right, I don't even know what to say. I feel like all of them be wrong, but that's just what I'm just going with right now. Green Bay Packers, I haven't won the Super Bowl. Come back in a few weeks to see what I get right, what I get wrong. Maybe I'll do the same thing as for a video. And then come back in a few days if you want to see the Madden predict this same playoff bracket. And see how well Madden does it. Madden's probably going to make the Browns win the Super Bowl is my guess. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Bash on me in the comments if you want to. Agree with me in the comments. Share your opinions down below in the comments. And I'll see you guys later.